Good afternoon. If you look at the title of my presentation, The Power of Uncommon Common Sense Management Principles, the secret recipe of German Mittelstand companies, lesson for large and small companies. This sounds very much like a complex, long-winding Germanic title for a presentation later in the afternoon of a very challenging and interesting meeting. So if you're already bored, I give you my short answer to the kind of plenary question, reinventing management or back to the roots. Back to the roots. And my answer is very simple: use your common sense. But, as always there's a but, as it's implied in the title, there is a lot of uncommonness about common sense. So stay with me for maybe 15, 18 minutes and I will try to shed some light on what I mean by uncommon common sense. I would like to share with you the management practices and attitudes of a group of companies summarized under the heading Mittelstand, German Mittelstand companies. Let me start with some brief facts. Most of you know Germany has a very strong position in the international markets. In fact, it has kind of battled with China in the last couple of years for leadership. It showed in this one chart the kind of development of the share of the G7 or the large countries in the world export shares, starting from 1995 till 2008, and there are only two countries. It's an index basis. There are only two countries who have been able to gain share. One is, of course, China, which tripled its share in world trade, and Germany, which came back starting early 2000 and gained significantly shares. All other major countries have lost shares. Second fact I would like to share with you, Germany, if you look at a more fine-grained level, kind of what's going on in different market segments, German companies are leading in about 2/3 of the industrial sectors. I've put together here some statistics based on 240 sectors. So German companies have a top position amongst the top 3 companies in about 140 of these 220 sectors. So there's something going on. My simple thesis, it's not just good products and services, there is a management model. I fundamentally believe they do something different. What are they doing? I think they are a perfect example for one of our mottos, visible but not seen. Most of them are working behind the scenes. They're in the B2B business. So about 90% of the 1,500 leading German companies I counted are active in B2B. Of course, machine equipment. We've seen BMW in cars and automotive components. There are also some exotic companies in logistics and other services. We have the leader in the worldwide leader in mobile units, mobile sanitation units. And we have even some companies in financial services. Over there we have the world leader in microfinance is a German company, which is in itself maybe of interest. Most of those companies are Mittelstand. They consider themselves to be mid-sized, to share a lot of values I will describe in the next few minutes. So from a kind of a hard revenue number, I define Mittelstand up to revenue size of annual revenue of 1 billion euro. Kind of stepping back, how does a typical company look like? What's the average company? So the average company has about revenues of 100 million euros, annual revenues. They employ 600 people and they export about 60% of their revenues. So that's kind of how it looks. And very important is most of them are owned by families, so 70% family ownership. 70% are based in rural communities, not in big cities like Berlin or Munich, but in very, very small cities. And they're not startups, so the average age is 70 years. This is kind of the management model. I like this term very much. Kind of what unites these companies. If you want to put it in a nutshell, what are the key elements? The first element I'm going to talk about is they concentrate, focus. That's a key Peter Drucker term. So they focus, since most of them are small, mid-sized, focus on niche segments worldwide, which they dominate. Secondly, they are not monopolists. They are active in the world market. Germany is a high-cost country, so they have to pay close attention to operational effectiveness. So they are world-class in key processes. And last but not least, they are family-owned. And for lack of better words, I choose enlightened family capitalism as kind of the specific model of family capitalism, family ownership going on in these companies. Let me first start with the strategy piece. So we've seen a very good example in the afternoon, BMW as certainly one of the leaders. In the mass segment, so if you look kind of the German companies, the 1,500 leading companies, where are they active? Most of them, the mid-sized companies, they focus on very small segments. The first company, probably no one knows of you, all of you got a driving license, and this company is supplying dual control systems for cars for driving schools. So very specific application, and there are hundreds of them. So it's kind of a 5 to 10 million euro business. So they are kind of portraying these niche players. And then there is a premium segment in mass markets, which all of you know, kind of in cars, kind of the most visible segment. We have BMW, Daimler, Audi, and we've learned in the afternoon, they not only build good cars, but they also build cars which have two cars in itself, which was new to me. So the BMW serves both as a racing car and a car for everyday driving. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's very simple. For the mid-sized companies, if you have limited resources, focus. Focus very much on a specific segment. Try to serve those customers on a worldwide basis. Stay away from the volume markets, so where the Chinese compete, basically. Don't play where the elephant stands. And usually all of them compete on value. So they're a technology leader, they're providing very good products at competitive prices. How do you do this? You have to be close to your customers. And there's kind of one secret which is very interesting. If you look at how those companies are doing it, remember the average company has about 100 euros revenue. And those companies have about 20 subsidiaries. So this is kind of the statistics. Out of those 1,500 world leaders, 90% have their own subsidiary in the United States. Yeah? And that's one of the key secrets. Try to be very close to the customers, providing good service, but also getting in feedback for innovation. So that's one thing they're very, very strong on. Secondly, something we discussed yesterday, they're very strong in innovation. And I put out just one statistic comparing the R&D expenditures of those world-leading companies with the R&D expenditures of the leading R&D spenders. Of course, it's kind of a little bit apples and oranges because the R&D leaders are mostly larger companies, but it shows that the German mid-sized companies spend a lot of money on R&D, and most of them, you remember, are active in quite classic segments. So there's a big misconception. I think the innovation strength is highly underestimated. We all kind of associate innovation with IT, biotechnology, telecommunications, and that's about it. Most of them are active in traditional market segments, but overinvest here. So they outspend their competitors, I estimate about 2 to 1. Yeah? So that's certainly very important from a resource base. There are masters of incremental innovation. It was mentioned by Mr. Staud. I think that kind of the industries German companies are leading are old industry, chemical industry, mechanical industry, engineering, automotive. They were invented 100 years ago. What those companies have been able to upgrade. And it's a key secret, just to keep on, keep moving, not to say goodbye, not like in the kind of the gold diggers in the United States who kind of dig gold and then left the town. Those guys stick around. Third issue which we cannot look is there's a good environment for innovation in Germany, which is again underestimated. We have a lot of things going on with respect to very good technical universities and technology transfer institutes. So innovation is key.